World War I, a conflict that would forever change the course of history, a storm that engulfed the world. It was a time of unprecedented turmoil and destruction. From 1914 to 1918, nations clashed. Millions of soldiers fought. They came from all corners of the globe, united by duty, divided by alliances. It was a new kind of war, one that saw the introduction of technologies that would redefine combat. Soldiers donned gas masks to protect themselves from the invisible, deadly clouds of poison gas. Deadly machines like machine guns and poison gas changed battlefields forever. The rapid fire of machine guns mowed down waves of advancing troops, while poison gas silently crept into trenches, causing unimaginable suffering. The Great War, they called it, a name that reflected its scale and the profound impact it had on the world, because it was so big, so many countries involved. The conflict drew in nations from every continent, making it a truly global war. Germany, Austria-Hungary against Great Britain, France, Russia and more. The Central Powers and the Allies locked in a deadly struggle for dominance. The world watched in horror, hoping for peace. Civilians anxiously followed the news, their hearts heavy with fear and uncertainty, praying for their sons and fathers. Families clung to hope, waiting for letters from the front lines, praying for the safe return of their loved ones. Churches filled with people seeking solace, their prayers a testament to the human spirit's resilience in the face of adversity. Soldiers wrote letters home, their words a lifeline to the world they left behind. Meanwhile, cities lay in ruins, the scars of war etched into their landscapes. Medical personnel worked tirelessly, treating the wounded in makeshift hospitals. The horrors of war were not confined to the battlefield, they extended to the hospitals where the injured fought their own battles for survival. On the home front, women took on new roles, working in factories and supporting the war effort. Children, too, contributed in any way they could, their innocence lost to the demands of a world at war. When the war finally ended, soldiers returned home to a world forever changed. Victory parades celebrated their bravery, but the memories of the conflict lingered, a reminder of the cost of war. Memorials and cemeteries became sacred grounds where people paid their respects to those who had given their lives. The Great War left an indelible mark on history, a testament to the resilience and sacrifice of those who lived through it. In the aftermath, world leaders sought to ensure such a conflict would never happen again. The League of Nations was formed, a symbol of hope for a more peaceful future. As the world began to rebuild, people found ways to move forward. Children played in the streets, a sign that life, despite the devastation, would go on. Veterans shared their stories, ensuring that the lessons of the Great War would not be forgotten. Books and films kept the memory alive, a reminder of the sacrifices made and the hope for a better future. And so, as the sun rose over a world at peace, the legacy of World War I remained. A powerful reminder of the cost of conflict and the enduring hope for a world united in peace. In the trenches, soldiers fought and lived in fear. They wrote letters home, pouring their hearts onto paper, hoping their words would reach their loved ones. Each letter was a testament to their resilience and a beacon of hope amidst the chaos of war. Their words, a window into their world, offered glimpses of their daily struggles and fleeting moments of camaraderie. These letters were more than just ink on paper. They were lifelines that bridged the gap between the front lines and the home front.
Dear Mother, it is muddy and cold. We are fighting hard. The conditions here are harsh, and every day is a battle for survival. But your letters give me strength. They remind me of the warmth of home and the love that awaits me. I miss you and home. The thought of returning to your embrace keeps me going. I carry your letters with me, close to my heart, as a constant reminder of what I'm fighting for.
These letters were lifelines. They provided a sense of normalcy in an otherwise chaotic world. For the soldiers, writing and receiving letters was a ritual that offered solace and a brief escape from the horrors of war. For the soldiers, a way to stay connected. Each letter was a thread that tied them to their past lives, to their families, and to their dreams of a future beyond the trenches. It was a way to remember who they were before the war changed them, to remember life outside the trenches. These letters were a reminder of the world they left behind, a world filled with love, laughter, and hope. They were a source of comfort and a beacon of light in the darkest of times. for families, a precious link to their loved ones. These letters were cherished and read over and over again, providing reassurance and a sense of connection. They were a testament to the enduring bond between the soldiers and their families, a bond that no distance or hardship could break. Imagine life in the trenches, mud everywhere, the stench of death, the constant fear of enemy attack. Soldiers lived in these ditches, they ate there, they slept there, they fought there.
Rats scurried in the mud, lice crawled on their skin, and always the sound of gunfire, the threat of snipers.
Back home, families waited. Mothers, fathers, wives, children. Every knock at the door brought fear. Was it a telegram bearing bad news? They wrote letters too, filled with love and longing.
Come home soon, they pleaded.
Life went on, but it was different. Everything was touched by the war. Food was rationed. Women worked in factories, taking on men's jobs. A moment of peace. The Christmas truce, Christmas 1914. A miracle happened. Amidst the chaos and devastation of World War I, a rare and extraordinary event unfolded on the Western Front. Soldiers, weary from months of relentless fighting, found themselves yearning for a brief respite from the horrors of war. The spirit of Christmas, a time traditionally associated with peace and goodwill, managed to transcend the brutal reality of the battlefield. In some places, the fighting stopped. The relentless gunfire and artillery bombardment ceased, replaced by an eerie silence that spread across the trenches. It was as if the very earth itself had taken a moment to breathe. The soldiers, both Allied and German, cautiously peered over the parapets, unsure of what to expect. The tension in the air was palpable, yet there was also a sense of anticipation, a glimmer of hope that perhaps just for a day the war could be forgotten. Soldiers on both sides climbed out of their trenches. They emerged slowly, hesitantly, as if stepping into a dream. The no man's land, a desolate and deadly expanse that had claimed countless lives, became a meeting ground for these weary warriors. They approached each other with caution, their hands raised in gestures of peace. The fear and suspicion that had defined their interactions for so long began to melt away, replaced by a sense of shared humanity. They met in no man's land, they sang carols, they exchanged gifts, they played football. The sounds of war were replaced by the melodies of Christmas carols, sung in different languages but carrying the same message of hope and unity. Soldiers shared small tokens of friendship, cigarettes, chocolate, and even buttons from their uniforms. The makeshift football match broke out with soldiers from both sides laughing and cheering as they played. For a few precious hours, the battlefield was transformed into a place of joy and camaraderie. For a brief moment, there was peace. The truce was an unplanned, spontaneous act of goodwill that defied the orders of their superiors. It was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, even in the darkest of times. The soldiers who had been enemies just hours before now stood together as brothers, united by their shared desire for peace. They knew that this moment of tranquility was fleeting, but they embraced it wholeheartedly, savoring every second. A reminder that even in war, humanity can shine through. The Christmas truce of 1914 remains one of the most poignant and powerful examples of the capacity for compassion and understanding, even amidst the most brutal of conflicts. It serves as a reminder that, despite the horrors of war, the bonds of humanity can never be completely severed. The soldiers who participated in the truce carried the memory of that day with them, a beacon of hope in the midst of the darkness. But the truce didn't last. The guns fell silent. The dawn of December 26th brought with it a harsh return to reality. Orders were given, and the soldiers reluctantly returned to their trenches, resuming their roles as combatants. The brief interlude of peace was over, and the war machine roared back to life. The sounds of gunfire and explosions once again filled the air, shattering the fragile peace that had been so briefly enjoyed. But the war raged on. The conflict continued for 4 more grueling years, claiming millions of lives and leaving a lasting scar on the world. Yet the memory of the Christmas truce endured, a symbol of hope and a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit. It reminds us that even in the darkest of times, there is always the potential for light, for understanding, and for peace. Scars of war, the invisible wounds. The war finally ended in 1918. Millions were dead, millions more were wounded, but the war's true cost went deeper. Soldiers came home changed, haunted by what they had seen. Many suffered from shell shock. We call it PTSD now. They had nightmares, flashbacks. They couldn't escape the memories. The lost generation. The war stole a generation. Young men full of promise gone, families shattered. The world forever marked by the conflict. The war changed everything. Countries' borders were redrawn, new ideologies emerged, and the seeds of future conflicts were sown. Section 8. Letters of love, lost and found. Years later, we still find their letters, tucked away in attics, preserved in archives, each one a precious piece of history. They remind us of the human cost of war, the sacrifices made, the love and loss. Section 9. Remembering their sacrifice. We must never forget World War I. The soldiers who fought, the families who sacrificed, their stories must be told, their letters read, their memories honored. Section 10. The enduring legacy of World War I. World War I may seem like a distant memory, but its legacy lives on. In the world we live in today, in the conflicts we still face, it's a reminder that war is never the answer, that peace is precious, and that we must strive to build a better world. Section 11. Conclusion. Lest we forget. As we remember World War I, let us honor those who served. Let their stories inspire us. Let their sacrifices remind us. Let us work for peace. Let us build a world where such horrors are never repeated, lest we forget.